All right. So let's talk about each of those factors. So biomechanics and technique. So the Hano Hano stroke. This is something that we talked a lot about over the 2011 season. We tried our best to break it down into different segments. I want to explain again now what those sections are and why those sections are important, and we'll move through each one. So we want to, the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about locking the midsection. You've heard me talk about this a lot. The reason we want to lock the midsection is we want to, number one, we want to make sure that all energy is transferred. Right? We don't want to have any breaks in the chain. And number two, we want to save everybody's back. So what we're looking at is, when we talk about locking the midsection, it's very similar to if you've done any yoga, or you've done any Pilates, or you've done any powerlifting. It's going to be kind of the same central theme. Is you pull your belly button in and up towards your rib cage so that your entire midsection, your entire core, not just your abs, not just your transverse abdominis or your obliques, the entire weight belt that is your midsection musculature is going to draw in, and it's going to lock. And what that's going to do is that's going to lock in your posture, but it's also going to press your viscera against your spine. It's going to be just like packing peanuts. It's going to keep that spine nice and strong. The alternative is this is relaxed. In order to keep your spine strong, you've got to use all these tiny, very, very, very sensitive, very, very easily damaged erectors of the spine to hold you straight. So instead of doing it here, where we can end up hinging and doing damage, we want to do it here. So I go in, up, lock. It holds everything together, protects the low back, transfers energy straight up from the foot out to the hand, but what it also does is it allows your whole body to move as one unit. So when your hips move, your shoulders move. When your shoulders move, your hips move. This is loose, then you can have different speeds happen. So we want to avoid that. The next thing would be the forward, what we call that lean of anticipation. And you guys have heard me describe this before. Once we've got the lock, you want to make sure that your ass is the furthest thing back. Right? So what will sometimes happen is when you're sitting with the weight coming straight down through, as you bend, the low back becomes the furthest point back. If this is locked and we're lean forward, we've got the ass is the furthest thing back. What that's going to do is that's going to do a couple of different things. It's going to move your center of mass forward. Having a forward center of mass is going to immediately cause momentum to shift this way. Right? And I can go through all the physics of it if you want it. I'll send you guys the equations. You can look at it for yourself. But just for now, just trust that that's what happens. So center of mass moves forward. Center of mass also begins to lower a little bit. What that does is that creates better balance. Right? We're top heavy as pounders. All our weight's up here. We sit straight up and down. Our weight's up here. Number one, it makes us unbalanced. Number two, it causes no momentum. Number three, gravity pulls straight down, which pushes the boat straight down. So if we lean forward, we've got all that physics in our advantage. Now the biomechanical advantage to that is it's what's referred to as preloading the glutes. So if you've ever done any type of powerlifting or Olympic lifting, you've probably heard that before. If you preload the glutes, now you have the ability to load your leg and actually get leg drive. Without that, you're not going to have that drive, that power. So here we're getting just that little bit of stretch. It's preloading. And when we move into the next segment, which is going to be our rotation, that preload is going to allow you to take all of that weight onto your leg. So now that's our rotation is a twist and a hinge. So when we talk about rotation, it can actually be broken down into two parts. Both parts by themselves have advantages and disadvantages. I forgot to ask you for a paddle, Lance. Do you have one nearby? Yeah.